Title: After 15 years of raising them like their own, they grabbed the microphone at graduation and said, "We want to thank our real dad, not the loser who just paid the bills." I smiled. I didn't flinch when the microphone crackled. The auditorium was packed. Proud parents, flashing cameras, the hum of expectation. My two stepchildren, 15 years of my life wrapped in caps and gowns, stood on the stage, holding hands like they had rehearsed this moment together. And then, with smiles that could cut deeper than any knife, they said it. "We want to thank our real dad, not the loser who just paid the bills." The crowd laughed. Some clapped. A few even turned their heads toward me, waiting to see my reaction. I smiled. Not the smile of pride, not the smile of a wounded man trying to hide the sting. No, this was the smile of a man who already knew how the story would end. I raised them since they were toddlers, taught them how to ride bikes, patched their scraped knees, sat up late drilling algebra. I worked double shifts to pay for braces, for soccer camps, for every Christmas morning stacked with gifts. Their mother, my wife, was grateful once, or at least she pretended. She whispered, "They're yours now too," in the dark. I believed her. For 15 years, I believed all of them. But children grow teeth sharper than wolves. It started small. They'd whisper on the phone, giggle at messages from their so-called real dad, a man who hadn't lifted a finger to raise them, who vanished when responsibility knocked. I caught the first crack in their loyalty 3 years ago. One of them called me by my first name instead of dad. A slip, but it landed like a stone in my chest. Then birthdays came where I was just a wallet, dinners where I was a ghost at my own table, my wife, silent, letting it happen. And finally, graduation, their public execution of my role in their lives, the moment they thought they stripped me bare. But I had been preparing long before the microphone hum. 5 years earlier, I opened a separate account. Every overtime hour, every side job, every bonus poured into that fund. A college fund, I told them. I told her, but I knew. Deep down, I knew love that isn't earned is just debt waiting to be collected. So I built the paper trail carefully. Lawyers, signatures, ironclad clauses. The fund was mine, held in my name, under my rules. Not a cent accessible without my hand. They thought I was saving for them. What I was really saving was control. The morning after their little speech, I made one phone call. The account was emptied by noon. Not gone, not wasted, redirected. To a scholarship trust in the name of a young girl I had mentored at work, one whose father had died in an accident. She had drive, she had gratitude, she had none of the poison that lived in my house. That evening, I left the paperwork spread across the kitchen table. Not hidden, displayed. The bank statements, the closure notices, the scholarship certificate with my name signed proudly. I didn't need to say a word. My wife found them first. Her scream shook the walls. Rage, desperation, panic, the sound of a woman watching her carefully constructed future dissolve. She grabbed the papers, waving them in my face. "How could you? You promised them!" I only leaned back, calm. No, I promised my children. Turns out, I never had any. The kids came in, still in their gowns. They saw the truth in black and white. The fund they had already spent in their minds, cars, apartments, tuition, was gone. "You're pathetic," one spat. I smiled again. Pathetic enough to pay every bill. Pathetic enough to keep a roof over your head while your real dad stayed a shadow. And now, pathetic enough to walk away richer in peace than I ever was in this house. Their silence was louder than the graduation applause. The next weeks unraveled them. Their mother begged, calls, texts, crocodile tears. She even showed up at my work once, mascara streak, whispering, "We can fix this. Just put the money back." I laughed in her face. There is no back. You chose him. They chose him. Now live with what you chose. The kids scrambled. Applications denied without the promised funds. Their real dad vanished again, predictably, once he realized he wasn't inheriting my sacrifices. The house grew quiet after I left, empty, hollow. And I was free. Some people call it cruel, taking what I saved and giving it to someone else. leaving them stranded after 15 years of devotion. But cruelty has a purpose when justice wears its mask. I gave them every chance to choose loyalty, to choose love. They chose blood and betrayal. So I chose myself. On graduation day, they tried to humiliate me in front of hundreds, but I walked out smiling, because I already knew the next chapter belonged to me. And when their world collapsed, when their mother's sobs echoed against bare walls, when their real dad abandoned them again, my silence was the only answer they deserved. 15 years I gave them. 15 years they threw away. Now I live with no regret, no chains, no lies. And every time I see that girl whose scholarship I funded, the fire in her eyes, the gratitude in her voice, I know the truth. My revenge wasn't just taking from them. It was giving to someone who would never betray me. And that, in the end, is the sweetest justice of all.